All right, you're listening to 91.5 WUML Lowell Blues Deluxe. And it's my pleasure to have Boone on with me from the Otis Band.
Thanks, man. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you. So, you guys, the band is from Kentucky, am I correct?
Correct. Yeah, we're all Kentucky boys, man.
And you grew up in Kentucky.
Yep. Yeah. We all live maybe 30 minutes away from each other. Kind of out in the country, rural area.
Yeah. Where in Kentucky?
We're in Glasgow, Kentucky. Probably the biggest town would be Bowling Green. So if you're looking at the map, we're right between Louisville, Kentucky, and Nashville, Tennessee.
Ah, Nashville. Not too far,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So tell me about growing up. Tell me what kind of music were you listening to as a kid?
Man, I was listening to a lot of bluegrass, a lot of honky tonk stuff. My grandfather was a award-winning bluegrass fiddler. My dad was kind of a honky tonk guitar player. As I got older, he turned me on to things like the Fabulous Thunderbirds and B.B. King. And after I heard those two things, it was over after that. All I
Yep.
wanted to do was play guitar from that point.
And when did you decide you wanted to be a full time musician? How old were you when you decided you wanted to do that?
Well, I grew up, playing in my dad's band, so I was on stage from 8 years old. So there was never, I never imagined, a life without it. I guess what really pushed me was seeing bands do well from the area where we're from, like the Kentucky Headhunters. I saw those guys. You can see their bus, leaving from the little grocery store here in town. It's kind of like, hey, I can do this. I don't have to move to Nashville or or go out west or anything to make this happen. I can do it all right here from the area we're from.
That's great. And how'd you come up with the Otis Band? How did that name come up?
Man, Greg Martin from the Kentucky Headhunters had a hand in naming the band. Back in the 70s, there was a three-piece band called Otis from Louisville, Kentucky, and they never quite made it, but the name always stuck with him. He thought that would be a great name. It's kind of simple, and so we adopted the name and ran with it.
That's great. So I want to ask you about this tribute to John Brim that you guys did.
Yeah, man, that was our first album, produced by Greg Martin of the Kentucky Headhunters. He called me over one day. He's like, "Hey, man, let's go out. Let's eat some barbecue." And he gave me this burnt CD of John Brim songs. He said, "Man, won't you listen to these and see if you guys may be interested in doing any of these? This is really good stuff." He was from Kentucky, and it was a lot of this stuff is kind of unsung, untapped stuff that was on chess. So we're like, cool, yeah. And as soon as we heard it, we really connected with it, and we're like, yeah, let's bring a light to the music of John Brim, because Kentucky's so known for other types of music. There's all kinds of country artists that came from Kentucky. Of course, we have the bluegrass folk heritage, but there's actually a lot of blues, because we're trapped between the Chicago and the Delta, and that's a great melting pot for the influence of blues music.
Yeah, so that's an interesting beginning to do a John Brim tribute.
Yeah, it was kind of a crazy thing, but I think it was supposed to happen that way, because that really helped us find out who we were as a band, and what we could do with these blues influences. Because all the bands that really moved us, like the Allman Brothers, Canned Heat, Led Zeppelin, all that stuff. If you go back to their first couple of albums, it's mostly all
Blues.
covers of, yeah,
Blues
Chess era,
covers.
yeah,
Yep.
Chess era blues. So we were kind of following that path, and seeing what we could create from it.
So from there, you joined Cleopatra Records in 2017. When was the John Brim record? What year was that? 2014, I think.
Yeah, that was 2014. It was independent re-released, and Jimmy Hall of Wet Willie played the harmonica on the album as well. So
Wow.
that was
That's
a cool
pretty
thing.
cool.
Yeah. We love Uncle Jimmy Hall. He's a good one, man.
And then 2017, you joined Cleopatra.
Yeah, yep. That was our second album, Eyes of the Sun, out on Cleopatra, and yeah, man, it was a really honor to work with that label and get to put out an all original record.
Well, let's talk about your music a little bit.
Yeah, man.
It's not all straight blues, but there's all kinds of genres within your music which people can hear. It's pretty cool. I've heard a couple of your songs, and I mean it's you got country sound in there, you've got influence in there, you've got kind of a folk influence in some of it, bluegrass and gospel too.
Yeah, man, we just tried to take all the great American roots music and make something new out of it. And we all listen to different stuff, but it's all very roots based, and we wanted to reflect that. I think there's a especially where we're situated, where we live. There's a real chance to showcase a lot of different traditions and just carry the music forward, man.
Billy Gibbons is a big fan of yours, I hear.
He is, man. He did us a real favor. It was kind of through a chance meeting that Greg was able to, pass him over a copy of our first album, Tough Times, a tribute to John Brim. And we kind of thought, hey, he'll probably use it as a drink coaster. But he called us back a couple of days later and was very complimentary, gave us a press quote, and was asking how we got some of the sounds on the album. And he's been a great friend ever since. I actually just saw him a couple of days ago out on the Rock Legends cruise, and I got to reconnect and visit with him and his wife Gilligan, and such a great guy. And he's a master of taking the traditions we all love and making it relevant. He's the king of it. The he makes the boogie eternal.
There you go. And then some of the songs were in a soundtrack to a film from that
Yeah,
Eyes of the Sun record.
it was on one Cleopatra film called The 27 Club, and then they used it again on the DVD version of Street Survivors, which is all about Artemis Pyle's life story. And
Yep.
what a great honor to be in a blues rock Southern rock band and have our music featured in such an integral story of Southern rock.
Yeah, Leonard Skinner. Crazy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And their influences too, from what I can hear in some of what you do.
Oh, absolutely, man. I mean, we kind of live in the South. Every time you turn around, you hear the Almonds, Skinner, Wet Willie, Marshall Tucker, all that great music, which all of it is really founded on American roots music.
Tell me about the other guys in the band.
Well, myself on
Guitar and
slide
vocals.
the guitar and vocals, yeah, and the co-founder of the band, John Mark Seeley, on the bass and harmony vocals, and then we got two new guys in the band. We've got Dale Myers on drums and Alex Wells on guitar. So this lineup of the band started playing out last year. We did about 20 shows, and we're hoping to double that this year. And you got some new music on the way. So exciting times for Otis.
So what's tell me about the new music coming a little bit.
We got a new single coming out, and there's going to be other singles to follow, and we're working toward putting out a full length album. But this will be our first single we've released since 2019. It's a great song called "There's a Break in the Road," originally done by Betty Harris, who was kind of like the queen of New Orleans soul music. I happened to find her version of this song on a compilation album, and it really hit me. It was like listening to my own band in some ways, because it's played kind of loosely, and the guitars are fuzzy, and it's all about feel and groove, and that's what we're all about. So it really inspired me to do this song, and maybe turn some other people onto it who haven't heard it.
Well, let's talk about a little bit about that. Singles. These days, new bands, all they're doing is putting singles out first and then putting the full length records out. You're laughing when I say that.
I know, man. It's kind of the nature of the beast right now. It's a singles game, and it's just like putting out an album in 2024 isn't the most, cost-effective thing in the world because everybody's doing streaming, and here my wife and I, neither one of our cars have a CD player, so it's kind of like it's a it's a scary time to be putting out music, but obviously, we want to put out music. We want to do a full-length album, and we're going to get there. But that's we're going to release a couple singles first and get some attention from that, and see where it takes us.
I was just talking about that on the air this past weekend. I was playing one song from Joe Bonamassa from his new live album because he's only releasing one at a time. And then same with Joanne Shaw Taylor, three songs. She's one, two, three in the last 6 months, and the record's not coming out till June. And
I
it
know it,
was,
man.
huh?
I know, man. This streaming thing has really changed the game.
It's
It's
killing you guys, isn't it? Streaming.
it is. For the consumer, it's great because you're accessible to so much music for one price. But when you go on the other side of the fence, and you're trying to release something, it's really a struggle, man. It's not like
Do
it's
you
not like it
make
used to
more
be.
money doing it as a single versus releasing the whole thing now, or no?
Yeah, it's that way for us because it takes a lot of money just to produce a single. There's so much involved, recording the song, artwork and getting it out there, and working with people, to get interviews and things. So it's it yeah, man, it's tough, and to put out a whole album is a pretty big financial undertaking. So especially if there's a like I said, it's harder to move CDs these days. It's all about streaming and vinyl.
Tell me about Kentucky and the blues scene in the area you're in. I know Nashville is pretty good with music. I mean, both country and blues, and Memphis is pretty big with blues as well. But what's Kentucky like?
Kentucky does have a blues scene. As I said before, we had John Brim that came from this area that moved to Chicago and recorded on chess, and then Sylvester Weaver actually made the first slide guitar recording in Louisville, Kentucky. And
Wow.
Louisville, Kentucky has a great blues festival called Garvin Gate Blues Festival that we've been able to play that 2 times. And of course, the Kentucky Headhunters are very well known for their blues releases that they put out. With the legendary Johnny Johnson, who played with Chuck Berry. They did 2 records with him. So there's some blues influence in Kentucky for sure.
Do you play? Is there a lot of places to play, clubs and places around the area, or do you have to go out of Kentucky to get
Uh, we
gigs?
we go out quite a bit, and there's some good markets in Kentucky. Of course, there's Lexington and Louisville are the two biggest cities, but we like to stay on the road. We've been all over the U.S. We've been to Europe twice, so uh, we like playing Kentucky, but we also like to get out of town as well.
Where's your favorite place to play outside of the United States when you went out when you were out there?
Oh man, Germany was really good to us. We had a great time there. We went over and supported Almond Betts on 2 shows over there, and
What was that
played.
like? What was that like
Oh,
to?
it was great. It's kind of funny. You had two Southern rock bands kind of running around all over Germany, but the people were so supportive of it, and because you don't get that type of music there. It's just like as bad as all of us American players love the Beatles, we'll never be the Beatles because we don't have that, the geographical DNA required to do that. And it's the Southern rock, blues rock is the same for them. Even though that the only reason that probably that we're hearing the blues record today is because of Clapton, the Yardbirds, the Stones, that type of thing, giving it a second life here in America. But they're so appreciative of our kind of music over there, and it's really fun crowd to play for.
And you're playing for the kids of your idols, the Almonds. How do you like that?
Yeah, yeah, they're good guys, man. We always enjoy seeing those guys and being a part of the Allman Brothers Band legacy. We're actually going to be playing the Georgia Allman Brothers Band Association Festival in Macon, Georgia in September. We've played it once before, but we're excited to go back and be a part of that Allman Brothers atmosphere.
Let's talk about guitars. You play guitar.
Uh-huh.
What type of a guitar do you play? Do you have? Do you play Fenders, Gibsons? What do you play? Paul Reed
Uh,
Smith?
I'm endorsed by Zamitis, so
Oh, a
I play.
different one. Wow.
Yeah. I play those guitars out on the road, but I'm a collector. I love my guitars, man. I've got a 78 Les Paul Standard. I've got a 68 345 that I really love. So yeah, plenty of guitars around the house.
Tell me about the Zamitis guitars. What are they like?
They're really cool, man. If you ever saw any old footage of like the Faces or the Rolling Stones, and you see Ron Wood playing, it's a aluminum plated front. It's kind of shaped like a Les Paul, but it's got a aluminum metal front on the front. So I've got one of those, and they also sent me a natural looking hollow body guitar that I really love as well. But
So they
check
make
them.
them for you.
Yeah. They've gave me three guitars so far, and they're great people to deal with, and it delivers the tone. That's the
That's
main
all
thing.
that matters, right?
That's right.
And how about amps?
Right now I've got a Magnetone amp I'm playing through. It's called an M80. It's the uh, ZZ Top 50th anniversary head. So Billy F. Gibbons had a hand in given the okay to make this head. So it's a really cool one, man.
Wow. So you have one single out that you're going to be putting a record out. Tell me about the record that's coming.
And we're still putting all the pieces together, but there's definitely going to be a record happening. This single's coming out March the 8th, and then there'll be more singles to follow. And
How many? How many are you going to release before you release the album?
probably everything on the album, because that's kind of the way things are going these days. You release each song as a single, and then once that's done, you release the album. And then it's out there. It's just you get a lot more attention if you release it one song at a time, because of the nature of the streaming services and the algorithms and all that stuff.
Well, if you had it right now, if you had the whole album, I'd play the whole thing
Oh
after
well,
the interview when I rebroadcast this.
we appreciate you, man, and thanks for the support.
Yeah, when it comes out, let me know. Send it to me, and I'll play the whole thing on the show.
You got it, man. We'll do it.
So tell me, what's the most important thing that's happened to you in your career to date? Most important thing that's happened.
That's a tough one, man. But probably becoming friends with Greg Martin of the Headhunters, because those guys have been a really positive influence in my life, and they're great guys. They're just like family, and they've helped the band along and helped me along, personally throughout my career. When Otis isn't touring, I go out on the road with them, and just kind of do whatever needs doing. I do their social media, so they've been a great help to me, over the years. When the pandemic hit, we had a bit of a lineup change. I had some health issues I had to deal with, and once I got that done, they were like, "Hey, man, won't you come back out on the road with us and and kind of get back in the game?" And that helped me, find the guys to bring into the new lineup and kick this all back off again.
That's great to know that a band like Kentucky Headhunters, who have quite a history, are
Oh yeah.
helping guys like you out that are coming up.
Oh yeah, man. I'm very lucky to know those guys, and they're great teachers. They're in some ways they're very much like us musically, as they're influenced by country rock stuff, English rock, blues. That I've went with them to country festivals, and then I've went with them, and we've done the King Biscuit Festival in Helena, Arkansas. I mean, they can they can hang out with Hank Jr. or they can hang out with Bobby Rush. It's all the
Yep.
same to them.
Yep. So where do you see the band in the next 3 to 5 years?
Man, with this lineup has got a lot of energy to it, and we're very prolific songwriting wise. So I think we're going to be wide open for a bit. I think you'll see our touring scale up. I think you'll see the releases scale up. That's what I want. That's what I want to happen anyway. You know, like I said, when the pandemic hit, we kind of had to go on a brief hiatus, but now we're back, and it's really exciting because people had really missed seeing us live, and they had missed the music, and to reconnect with all those folks has been a really special experience.
So how often are you out playing these days?
Pretty often. Like I said, we did 20 dates last year, hoping to double that this year. We got one show this weekend, and once April hits, things start to pick up, and we're going and playing some new areas that we didn't get into last year. So that's it. It's an exciting time.
Like where?
Um, Headed up north, we're playing a thing called Corn Fest. We're headlining this festival up in Wisconsin, and we didn't get to go that direction last year, and we always draw really well in that area. We did a residency at a place called the Cubby Bear in Chicago, so that was a great place for us to branch out and kind of play some more northeast territories. And people really it's kind of like going to Europe. People really appreciate our type of music up that way because they don't always have access to it as opposed to here in the South. There's a lot of bands that kind of have that long hair, two guitar blues influence thing, but it's a little more rare once you head north.
That's good. You ever get up to New England, New
We
York, New Jersey,
oh yeah,
Massachusetts?
we've played those areas before. I think the last time we were in New York, we played a place called Rockwood Music Hall up that way. And man, we're excited to get back to that area. That's always been a good area. We played Nectar's up in Burlington, Vermont. That's always been a good spot for us as well.
Well, if you ever come up this way, I'd love to have you come into the studio and play live on the show sometime.
Hey, we'd love it, man. We know you're into the right stuff. We'd have fun.
I am into the right stuff, and I'd love to have you whenever that works out. If we can work it out, you know how to get a hold of me.
Oh
We can
yeah,
work
oh yeah.
something out because I have engineers that work with me in the studio. We'll do live recording of you, live on the
Man,
air.
that sounds fun, man. We got to make that happen.
We got to make it happen. Um, so tell me, how do people find out about Otis Band?
Just head to theotisband.com, and there's a section on our website called links, and you can find all the different stuff. All the streaming platforms are there. All the social media is there. YouTube, you can find tickets to the shows there. So just head to uh, otisband.com.
And the people can get your CDs that you've put out previously there too, direct.
Yeah, absolutely. You can get them direct from us, and then you can get our second album, Eyes of the Sun. You can buy that from directly from Cleopatra as well. So either or.
You're still on Cleopatra, right?
Yeah. Our second album is still available there, and but this current single that we're doing is a independent release.
Oh, you're self-producing it yourself.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And the new record is going to be self-produced too.
We're still figuring that part of it out.
Wow. Any special guests on the new record?
Yeah, we had a really good time, especially recording this single because we got to record with Kevin McKendry, who's played with
Yep.
Brian Setzer, Delbert McClinton. He did plenty of records with the Headhunters as well, and it's just a very cool guy. He did a great job producing the session as well as engineering, and uh, Ty Tabor from King's X ended up mastering the new single. So it got some good names on there and some good influences. When we went in to work with Kevin, I knew we were going to get along because I said, "Hey Kevin, man, what kind of new music you're listening to?" He said, "I don't listen to new music. I listen to Howlin' Wolf." So I'm like, "Oh yeah, this is our guy right here. We're going to get along good."
That's great.
Yeah, it was fun, man.
So you have You have the website. You have Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff too.
Oh yeah, we got all the social sites going, and you can find those straight from our website.
Great. I really appreciate you spending some time with me. By the way, how'd you like my Buddy Whittington interview? You said you were watching it,
That was great, man.
wasn't it?
Him and Jim Suler on here, two of my favorite players, and Buddy Whittington's such a funny guy. You know, he's kind of like me. He's got the accent, cutting through. So,
You ever
great
get to
player as
meet
well.
him? You ever get to meet Buddy?
I haven't, man. I would love to meet him. I did get to meet one of my favorite players out on the Rock Legends cruise. I got to see Ken Heat and meet Jimmy Vivino. That was a really cool
Cool.
experience, man. And man, he can play that Muddy Waters slide stuff good as anybody I've ever heard. He nails it.
You should, if you, I'll tell you a little secret. Um, Buddy connected me with the drummer in Mayall's band, Joe Uele. You should watch that video. He talks about a lot about Buddy and Mayall in that on that video. It
Oh
was
wow.
great. It was a great interview.
I'll check that out for sure,
Check
man.
that out. You'll like it because he talks about Clapton. He talks about Mick Taylor being in the band. He talks about everybody. Peter Green opening. They opened for Peter Green, and he taught Joe was with the band longer than Buddy, and
Huh.
some of the stuff that he was talking about was fascinating. So if you get a
I'll do,
chance, check that one out.
I definitely will, man. That's talking about all those players. That's right up my alley, man. Good
Yeah,
stuff.
I know it is. That's why I said you should.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So, all right, Boone, thank you very much for taking some time out of your busy day and connect with me when you think you're coming up to Massachusetts area and we can get you guys. I can get you in. You just let me know when.
Hey, we'll make it happen, man. When we head that way, I'll reach out.
I want to thank John Lappin for hooking us up. That was a great thing for him to do.
John Lappin's great, man. He's a good one.
He's hooked me up with a bunch of people, I'll tell you. He's something else. He hooked me up with Buddy, by the way,
Okay, gotcha.
because he was helping them out. Texas Scratch gets set up. So that's how I got that interview with them. And I got him John hooked me up with you too. So that's great.
That's so cool, man. John's such a good laid back guy, and he knows everybody.
He knows everybody. Man,
Yeah.
the interviews I've done with him, he's given to me is incredible. I can tell you another one. John Bonham's sister. I did an interview with her,
Wow.
and she's a blues singer in England, and John was working with her, and he connected me, and there's another interview you might want to watch because she was interesting. Her husband played in Paul Rogers' band, guitar player.
Wow. Like his solo band?
It was called Free Spirit. It was Paul's tribute to
Okay.
his early first band, Free, and his
Wow.
name is Peter Bullock. He's a guitar player in Deborah's band, Deborah Bonham's band, and we talked about Free. We talked about Paul Kossoff on that interview. It was
Oh
crazy.
man. Man, that's he was the king of tone, man. That
Yeah.
vibrato was
See
amazing.
that? Yeah, you're another one that knows that.
Yeah, yeah.
He had the BB King feel of vibrato in all his solos. People don't realize how good he was.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, those guys, him, Peter Green, Mick Taylor, they all had that BB King
Oh
singing
yeah.
thing in their fingers. Yeah,
Yep. And they all had different styles and even though they sounded like BB in some ways, they all had different styles.
yeah, yep.
So yeah, great. The Joe Uele one was great because he talked about Mick Taylor. He told stories about some of those guys in the interview, which was kind of cool.
I can't wait to check that out, man. That's gonna be good.
It should be up on my site, the Facebook site that has all the interviews. Check it out. Check him out. Check Deborah Bonham if it's still up there, or if not, I can get it for you.
Cool. And we'll definitely share, all this stuff when it's, available on your socials, man. People need to know about your show. Have you ever interviewed Greg from the Headhunters before?
No, but I'd like to. Hook
I'll
me
send
up.
your. I will. He would love this, man, because y'all know a lot of the same stuff.
Um, like I said, when COVID started, I was doing phone interviews, and I couldn't do a radio show at the radio station to do
Oh
the
man.
phone interview. So I had to figure out a way to do this. And because everybody was home and all the musicians were home, this is the best way to do it. And I figured out how to do it from home. And it's been crazy. I'm doing them all over the world, these interviews all over the world.
That's so cool, man. That's what I really enjoyed about the Buddy Winnington interview is you could see the expression on their face, when
Yep.
they talked about things and they're, like all of us, you get to talking about blues and guitars and influences,
Well, yeah, you see how they react to all of it, and some of them will talk forever and tell you everything about what's going on in their lives.
yeah,
And that's the whole idea. I'll be honest with you. My listening audience doesn't know much about you guys, the Otis Band. Now they're gonna know, and that's what I
yeah.
want.
Oh yeah, we do too, man. It's just it's about getting the word out there. We were really busy before the pandemic, and then now it's been a big job, to kind of crawl back up out of our hole,
Well, that's a one question I didn't ask you. What happened during COVID? What'd you do during COVID?
Man, here's what happened. We had the original other guitar player in the band got an offer to play bass for a hard rock band called Blackstone Cherry. So
I
he
know
went
who they
over.
are. I know who
Yeah,
they
yeah.
are.
Yeah, he went over to do that, and our original drummer wanted to do the family thing. And in between those two things, I found out that I had thyroid cancer. So I had to get my thyroid removed and
Wow.
take radioactive iodine treatments, and it took about 2 years to, well, not year and a half to get all that straightened out. And the day that they told me it was like, hey, we don't want to see you for a year, you're good. That's the day that Richard from the Headhunters called me. He's like, hey man, why don't you do our social media and come out and tour with us until you get Otis back going all the way. So it's really cool because now I get to do both things, Otis touring and Headhunter touring, which gives you a really interesting perspective. So it's been good, man. I went through some rough stuff, but I think now I'm in a much better spot than I was before the pandemic.
So were you working a regular job during that time or no?
No, man, I wouldn't. I was my parents on a small 6,000-watt radio station. I was working there during the day, and then I was helping Greg from the Headhunters do a few things. He was doing this. There's a live streaming service called Together. It's for guitar players, and you, it's like kind of doing like an online clinic. So he was doing two of those a month, and I was helping him engineer those, and then I
Tell
was
me about that. That's interesting for guitar
you,
players.
you've got to check it out. It's really cool. It's called Together. It's the number two GTHR, and there's amazing guitar players on there, and people from all over the world tune in because it's interactive. It's like this. You
Yep.
can request to talk to someone. You can bring them on, and it's a real time conversation. So you have all these great players on there and guitar enthusiasts on there, and it's on all guitar based. The guy that runs it, his name's Mark DiLorenzo, and he ended up getting a job as the CEO of Seymour Duncan Pickups during all of this.
Wow.
So he's kept the company going, but his main thing is the pickups now. But there's great players on there doing that, like Philip Sayce is on there, Greg Martin's on there, Greg Cox on there. There's several others,
So
man.
again, say it again so the listening audience, if they want to go check it out. Two, the number two,
Yeah, two GTHR.
GTHR. Wow.
Yeah, yeah, together.
That's awesome. That, my next question is your parents still own that radio station?
They do, man. They
Yeah.
do. And I've got a show that airs there on Saturday nights from 8 to 10 called Rockin' Roots, and it's just kind of a buffet of rock, soul,
So
blues.
you're a DJ too. I didn't know that.
I am, yeah, yeah, yeah. Not a lot of people, not a lot of people know that, but it's a fun little show, and I enjoy doing it. I like knowing that different types of music are accessible to people because there's so much modern rock on the radio, and there's all kinds of country on the
It's
radio,
FM,
but
right?
yeah, yeah, but
How do
there's not.
people? If I wanted to listen to your show, how would I do that?
It's available on TuneIn. It's WHSX 99.1 The Hoss, and my show comes on there Saturday nights from 8 to 10.
Wow. Maybe I'll have to come on your show. How's that?
Hey, that sounds good. We'd have a good time.
Yeah, we should try to do that sometime.
Yeah, man.
You do interviews on the show?
Not very often because I usually just pre-record it because I'm usually gone on the weekends either with the Headhunters or Otis. But man, we could pre-record an interview and slide it
Like
in
we're
the
doing
log there.
now. Like we're doing
Yeah,
now.
exactly.
And this is a great format, as you can see.
Yeah, yeah. This looks really cool. I haven't used
It's
this
free. It's
really.
free. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool, man.
You should sign up and you could do it yourself.
I will, man. The quality is really nice. It's good.
It's perfect. I mean I've used Zoom, I've used other things, and this is the best of them all right here.
Yeah.
And you can do it all over the world. I did an interview in Australia using this and it worked perfectly.
Yeah, that's cool.
I
Good to
mean
know.
England, Deborah Bonham was in England when I did that interview. Um, I've done you name it, all over the world. I've done interviews using this format.
It's cool, man.
Yeah.
I'll definitely keep that in mind.
So let's keep connected, and you know how to get a hold of me.
Yeah. Yep.
Um, you have my email. If not, have John Lappin hook us up with that.
I'll have John send me all your info to make sure I got everything. But yeah, we'll definitely stay in touch, man.
Yeah, and like I said, if you come up to the East Coast, Massachusetts area, New Hampshire, Vermont, and we can get you the guys to come in and play, I'd love to have you.
We'll make it happen, man. We've played that area before. It's been a couple of years, but we'll definitely head back up that way.
All right, you need promotion, just let me know.
You got it, man.
All right. Thank you again.
Enjoyed talking to you.
Same here. Have a good day.
You too.
Thanks.
Okay, bye bye.